people test them, especially when you're looking for co-founders. People have, I found that people have taken it. That phrase, you only get one chance to make a first impression. Well, it seems like everyone's got that, because a lot of people just make a first good impression. After that, their execution shit. Not everyone, but some people. So you gotta keep an eye out for that, because it's easy to wow someone in that first meeting, and then the rest would just be okay. You're really not what you were on that first meeting. Another thing is, don't overthink about what people are saying. Learn to block them out, especially if you're in the sort of industry that we're in, because you're not just looking at negativity from potential clients. I'm not saying negativity, but constructive feedback. I mean, sometimes people are people. Sometimes people will just say shit just to say shit, without knowing what we do. I mean, we've had it loads of times, but yeah, learn to block out negativity. It's not an easy thing to do, but it is unfortunately what you have to do.
What are the big pros of having, not necessarily an advisor or mentor, but just having that sounding board, that neutral sounding board that you can come in and say, oh, I've got this idea, this is my problem, and then them giving you some honest advice back? Just how beneficial is that to anyone, really?
Personally, I'd say hugely beneficial. A lot of that benefit comes from the accountability. So you often find that an advisor or a mentor holds you very much accountable. I've gone into a call with an advisor, and I've said something and I've been shut down straight away. But then then it forces you to take a step back, and then I've realized, like, oh, actually, that's exactly right. Maybe that wasn't the right way to go, or the right way to think about it. And it's just having an extra pair of eyes on something sometimes, and a lot of advisors have been there and done that, so they might be able to help you avoid the pitfalls that they might have experienced in the past. But yeah, I'd say it's really important to get that kind of advice. Everything is self-taught at the end of the day, as you sort of described there, and learning off other people or learning from people who've had the experience before you. It's really important to do that. Yeah,
very true. I like your point there about being shot down. One, would it be a skill? We'll just say it as a skill. One skill you need to learn as an entrepreneur is learn to be humbled, because you'll speak to hundreds of people, whether they're on the same journey as you or they've been there, done it, and got the t-shirt and all that jazz. If they shoot down your idea, don't take it as a knock on you. It's coming from a place of genuine feeling, and we've been here, so this is why we're shutting it down. Yeah, it's never a nice feeling on the spot, as we both know, but it helps you grow and learn, doesn't it? Many hats is a term used so often.
Yeah.
And it's like, from people from the outside looking in, they'll be like, oh, he's good at marketing, he's got a good product and all that sort of stuff. But like, from my point of view, it's all self-taught, isn't it? It's like, you look on YouTube, you look at what other startups are doing, you sort of just, well, let's be honest, no filter here. You basically copy them to make it and put your own spin on it. There's no ifs or buts about it.
Love the honesty. Yeah, it's true though.
Yeah, that's why you see a lot of sort of startup founder influencers, they've just watched a few Gary Vee videos and now they're telling people to use TikTok every day. That's how it goes. But at the end of it all has the goal of product. Like, this is my product going out there. Your marketing and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's self-taught. Yeah, it's a bit guerrilla, but it's all skills that you learn anyway. What are the key differences between investment banking and running a startup? I would really love to know those differences.
Well, when you're in investment banking, you're at the center of financial engineering. Everything is kind of like there set in stone. You have the process, you have the machinery, the banks are in the centers of the economy, everyone knows you, and you just need to keep the status quo, keep it running. keep optimizing, keep up with the competition, keep up with the regulatory requirements, keep the margin up, etc. So you're in an optimization role, run the bank. Whereas starting a new company, well, there's nothing. Nobody knows you. Nobody cares about you. You want to hire, there's no one applying because nobody ever heard of you. Whereas in banking, when I was putting an ad, like we had tons of applicants, just put like a big name like JP Morgan, UBS, and people are flowing. So the difference in startup is you need to create absolutely everything from scratch, which is infinitely harder than running the bank on one thing and being the best at one thing. So for example, in banking, there's going to be a guy who's super good in technology and someone guy who's going super good at applying technology to make algo trading and someone good at understanding the risk, etc. And the difficulty there is to make people collaborate because it's so full of politics and everyone is just backstabbing each other and nothing moves. And every project, even if it has a $50 million budget, you don't even know like why is it costing so much and where is the money going? When in startup you have no money, no politics, no backstabbing, no conflict of interest. You're just like a team trying to solve one problem with no resources and to please a very small number of customers.
Do you miss anything from your time in investment banking?
Yeah, my 6 screens.
The trend hoppers, they see something on TikTok and they want it instantly. Whereas in the long term,
by now, don't think the promo offer stops in 30 seconds. You don't have the money, no worries. Here are all the buy now, pay later solutions. This is really toxic.
It's very, very toxic, and it goes back to that shopping addiction or just the gratification, those little instant wins. It's not good mentally and it's not good financially. It's quite scary in a way how easily influenced people can be.
We don't talk about shopping as an addiction, although it is like it's clinically recognized as an addiction. But whether we talk about alcoholism, cigarette, drugs, gambling, video games, sex, porn, whatever, like you name it, we almost never hear about shopping addiction. Although there's $1 trillion of credit card debt in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like $1 trillion.
Yeah.
That's more than the military budget of Russia.
Has anything surprised you the most about running a startup? Is anything that's jumped out that you've taken a back seat and thought, oh, this is different?
It's always harder than what you expect. And the only way to learn how to run a company is to run a company.
Mm-hmm.
There's just no preparation possible, no MBA, nothing. Just do it.
Very true. Learning on the job. This is probably the term. I speak to a lot of founders that say the same. It's you can think so much of doing a startup, but unless you actually do it, start it, build a team, build a product, and all that sort of stuff, you never truly know. So yeah, that's a great point. Just you won't know until you try it, basically.
And it always looks easier when you look at the other companies.
Yeah.
Like everything is hard.
Yeah.
Tech is hard, design is hard, product is hard, marketing is hard, hiring is hard, fundraising is hard, lignating is hard, making everyone happy is hard, making your customers happy is hard, getting the revenues is hard, like everything.
True, but we love it.
Exactly, that's the adventure.
What's been some of the biggest lessons that you've learned from working in past startups and in other companies?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say I think my biggest lesson has been being iterative and being able to maintain that shipping velocity. I think that's probably the number one factor in the early stages of a startup because nothing else really matters. You're looking at product and traction, and the best way to do that is work closely with your customers, make sure you're solving the right problem, and that you're still being useful for them. But you cannot do everything on day one, so you want to be very careful about what is the minimal thing that I can roll out that showcases my product, and then you have enough time to then iterate on that and make it better. So that would be lesson number one. Just sort of getting better at iterating and being able to ship software quickly. The other lesson I have is it's a hard journey, right? Everyone knows that startup is a hard journey. It takes it could take anywhere between 5 to 10 years to get anywhere. So you want to make sure you work with good people. So you want to enjoy the work with your colleagues. So make sure you pick a startup where the people are fun to work with, or otherwise it becomes very quickly becomes a hard thing. And of course you get to take ownership, of course, in a startup, but flip side is that of course you need to quickly learn how to execute, because otherwise that getting that ownership does not amount to much. So I think that's the third lesson, where there's a lot of opportunity to take ownership, but you want to quickly learn and understand how to execute on that. You own that piece, but what does it really mean? What is important? How do you show that value? And you have to do this quite quickly. So which I think brings me to the fourth one, which is dealing with ambiguity. So I think that's the biggest thing in a startup. There's nothing structured. Things are moving quite quickly. Things are changing as well. The market's changing, your product is changing. So are your customers and their needs. So being able to take a very high level definition of a problem, and then sort of breaking it up into what should the solution be? Is it even the right solution? And you may not have enough context and information, so going about and extracting that context and information from everywhere.